In AircraftMX, timed U items or timed items are where all time-oriented intervals or inspections or life-limited parts are tracked for compliance. And in this video, we're going to walk through how to edit, manage, and create timed U items. If you set up your aircraft in AircraftMX with an initial maintenance template, then we pre-populated this timed items list with common timed items based on the make, model, and typically serial number of your aircraft. In Part 91 operations especially, owners have latitude into some timed interval requirements. And so the timed items component is very flexible and adaptable based on each owner's needs. In other words, you're not limited to just the predefined templates. If you want to do more frequent oil changes, you could set your oil change timer to be at a different interval than what may be standard. Or if there are other components of your maintenance work that you prefer to be different, you can. If there are items that you prefer to track and repair or conduct simply on condition without timers, you can still leave those as timed items for linking and tracking, but you can remove the calendar or time-based intervals from those and they will show up as on condition only. So we're going to walk through how to edit and create timed items in the system. We're still looking here at November 627 Alpha Whiskey, and you'll see that we've done a little bit of our logbook entry initial processing, and it's updated our annual inspection, our ELT test, and the replacement of our number 1 and number 2 batteries in this aircraft. But you'll also see that we have quite a few items that are still missing next due information. And that's because we haven't yet updated the last completed information, or we haven't linked a logbook entry, which would automatically update that last completed information. So in this case, on an SR22, there's a recommendation from the manufacturer to overhaul or replace the alternator every 2,000 hours. You can see that here. So if I wanted to edit that interval or make it on condition, I would simply click on the item in the list. Here I can see a slightly more detailed view, and then I can edit this item. And here I can change the title, I can change the group that this item belongs in. And then if I wanted to add a calendar interval, if you wanted to make sure that you overhauled or replace your alternator every, let's say, 7 years, you can enter that calendar interval. You can have the system decide whether it's on an exact calendar cycle or an end of month calendar cycle, such as for an annual inspection. Then you can also update the time-based interval, and you can tell the system what timer on your aircraft that you want this interval to be based on. They're commonly based on flight or tack time, but if you have other items that need to be based on different timers and calendars, you can select that here. Then you can also select whether or not this is a recurring or one-time item. Obviously, most items tend to be recurring, but if you have one-time items, you can track those. And we also have the ability for you to input an estimated budget to have this service done. But for now, we're going to think about the last completed information, which here you can enter manually, or you might also, this information is automatically updated when you link logbook entries to timed items as you're importing your logbook entries. But in this case, I might say the last time this was completed was, let's say, January the 15th of 2025. And let me see what our flight times are here. So our last flight time was 25:43.9, so we'll put that in, and you'll notice that it's going to automatically calculate the next due flight time, which is what's highlighted here in blue, based on the interval that we selected. I can also adjust the due soon alert settings for each timed item. So as timed items get closer to being due, whether that's by calendar or by a flight meter, they're going to show up in your timed items list as due soon, or hopefully not overdue, but they will show up as overdue. But you can adjust the standard defaults of the due soon alert settings here. They default to 60 days or 15 hours. And you can also relate each timed item to specific equipment or ADs or service bulletins. If there are service bulletins that apply to your aircraft that have a recurring interval or airworthiness directives that have an interval, you can link them here just to keep the records really synchronized together for easy discoverability. So obviously this is related to alternator 1. So we're going to go ahead and link alternator 1 and hit update. So now what you'll see is that this timed item is reflecting that it's due again in 2,000 flight hours at 4,543.9. You'll see all the interval data here, and we can also see that we've linked it to this related equipment item. And if I go all the way back up to the timed items list, you'll see here that the alternator 1 overhaul and replace is now showing as current with its due again time. So similarly, you can add new timed items that may be custom to things that you want by hitting the add new button and filling out the same information for a new maintenance item.